Right.
How they get struck by lightning. But that's the one thing. If you could find that out, I will do something with this.
Okay. I will find out.
I have everything. I have absolutely everything that happened.
Okay.
But I need to know, why did he sell me out? That's what I want to know. Because he promised me this bill back in like April and March.
Right. I read that in the journal that he said he was going to give it all the consideration it deserves and all this other stuff. Right.
Yeah, he said that in the journal, and that was like that was the Saturday before Easter. That's the only reason I remember it, because I was like, oh my God, a lot of the Catholics were probably horrified. But and I was raised a Catholic, but I'm not one anymore.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
But when I look at the stuff he's putting out, the Trump stuff, promises made, promises kept.
Right.
He promised me this bill.
Right. Okay.
And he clearly did not deliver.
No, clearly.
And the language that he put in at the end, I couldn't even compromise on it. The language was not what you say it is. It didn't exempt clergy. What it did is the increase in statute of limitations would only apply to persons who were abused after the passage of the bill. So that means any kid who was getting abused, like 5-year-old, in May, could not benefit, or 10-year-old, or anyone who hasn't reached the age of majority could not benefit. And I was like, so I am protecting people that don't even exist yet.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm telling the people who are out there to get it.
Yeah. That's unbelievable to me.
I said that is, and that was language that came from the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church was very involved in this. It's terrible what the Speaker allowed to happen. He allowed the Church to dictate what we do at the State House. I mean, that really is what happened.
Right.
But here's the way I want to approach this.
Okay.
I need to prove that he's back on the altar.
Okay.
And I want to wait till after the primary, because he doesn't have a primary. I do. And the Catholic Church is coming after me with both guns blazing.
Gotcha.
They haven't got good candidates, but they're both put up by the Catholic Church. So I got a primary and a general.
All right. I'll tell you what I'll do then. I will, if he's on the lectern, or on whatever they call it, the lector, if he's lector of his church, I'll find out, and I will let you know as soon as I have proof.
If you can dig that up, that this is a great story.
Yes.
Because that's what I was told. And where did you hear it?
I honestly can't quite say, but I've been hearing this from like 2 different sources, and that's why I thought it was worth following up on. It was all, and the fact is, it was presented to me more as rumor, but from people who kind of know from the inside the, I don't want to say his inner circle, but there are people who are associated with his campaign.
Well, if it's Jeff Britt, he's I don't know if
no.
I'm just going to, I don't know what to say about the man. He keeps contacting me, and I'm not saying anything negative about him, but right. I'm not sure that's the route I want to go. So.
No, you don't want to go Jeff Britt. I have to talk to Jeff Britt about an entirely different story, and I'm loath to do it because he's never been quite honest with me. Please don't tell him I said it. No. Everything you say to me today, and from here on in, is confidential promise. I will never talk about this to anybody. So.
I mean, he is hounding me to tell the story that he believes I have. He doesn't know what I have. I know what I have.
Right. Oh, interesting.
And I have everything. I have all the changes they made to the bill. I have the changes I made to the bill.
Okay.
I have the LC numbers. I have the sub-A.
Okay, cool. Because a lot of that isn't available
every
online.
Every time I changed it, they put draft on it. Every time they changed it, it came down with an LC number.
Huh.
So the LC numbers, I don't think they can get rid of those. The drafts, I don't think we can share. I'm not sure what I've been told this,
Well, what I've been told is that there are some things at the State House that are called work product, right? And so work product are things with notes or drafts and stuff like that. And the thing is, it's not that those can't be shared, it's that they don't have to be shared, right? So there's no legal thing that says you can't share a work product. It's just that if you ask, like, put an APRA request in, they can tell you, oh, we don't have to share that because it's work product.
Yeah.
So.
And what's going on with Frias? It sounds to me like he's not doing much of anything.
I don't know exactly what's going on with Frias. I think he's waiting until after the primary, too, because it's going to be him versus Mattiello in the primary. So why put out a lot of work right now when he can wait until all the other races that are going to be interfering are settled? That's my guess. But I could talk to him as well, because...
well, the speakers people are all saying he's going to win by like 500 votes.
Right. Interesting. Well, that means...
and they all say that he has the 38 votes in the House to get reelected.
Right. This is all possibly true. That's all very possibly true. It really is.
And so that puts me way out in Siberia.
Right.
But, so when I come out with this, I have to have my facts.
Yep.
And he has to be unequivocally unable to deny it. Right. I'm a lawyer. I got to protect my reputation. I'm not just going to come out with some half-assed thing, you know?
No, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to be... I've got some friends, because the speaker knows me quite well. I have some friends who are going to be going...
Yeah, if I sat in this church, he would run up the door.
Right. I know, right? Exactly. Right. So I have some friends who are going to go, and they're going to look into this for me, and they're going to go sit through some masses this weekend and this week, hopefully. And they're going to, like, audio record if he speaks.
Would be
right.
amazing. But, you know, I suspect you're going to have to go a few times. It is summer. He has a house in Narragansett, so who knows how many times he's going to be up there right now.
Exactly.
And so that's why timing is everything. And if, you know, this would best be said if it's going to develop when it's closer to his election.
I agree. So, and that's why I wanted to reach out and let you know. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll do the work of determining whether or not he's elector at his church. And as soon as I know anything, I'll send you everything I have.
I mean, and all the victims that came forward, they're all very upset.
I'm sure. I recorded that. I recorded how I think it was the House. I recorded a lot of their testimony, and it was heartbreaking. And then also I watched all the testimony on the Senate side through the Nesselbush side of the bill, and I was just, like I said, I can't.
It's astounding that we didn't do anything.
It's astounding.
It was the most important bill and persuasive. I got a letter from what's his name, DeLauro, from the public defender, Mike DeLauro.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, most compelling testimony I've heard all year. He sent me all these articles.
Right.
And, you know, no one can believe it didn't fly.
Well, on the other hand, if he actually did trade it for personal gain, even of, you know, I mean, that's just unbelievable to me. And although at the same time, as soon as I heard it, I said, oh, this sounds very, very likely to me. So.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I said, what did he get?
Right.
Something had to happen, because at like 9 o'clock on the last night, or 8 o'clock, whatever time it was, the lawyers came down to talk to me with a new draft, and we were agreeing on 15 years at that point without the prospective language, because I said I will not put that bill in. I'll share this with you. What I said to him was this. It was like the 22nd. I think we ended on the 24th. Mm-hmm. And they handed me this thing, and they said, we're gonna bring this to the floor. It's coming down now. I went up to his office. I read it line by line. I'm like, I was totally under the gun. I was like, it says 15 years. Why does it say 7 years here? And what is this other language? They didn't give me 2 seconds to read it. I turned to him and I said, if you bring this to the floor, I will stand up and ask everyone to vote against my own bill, and I will release a wrath on you and the church you've never heard of before. I was furious.
Yeah, I'm sure. I said,
don't do you saw what he did to Sue Donovan with the pay. It just came down.
Right.
I said, don't you dare.
That was awful as well. That was awful. That was Bill. That was
terrible.
Awful. Yes, awful. Okay. All right, so then let me work on this, and I will get back to you as soon as I can.
Yeah, I think I don't know what to do with it. I mean, he's going to come after me like crazy, and if he doesn't have a race right now, he'll send everybody else after me, because, you know, Leo Skenyon lives in my district. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
And he signed the Republicans' papers.
And he
signed mine as well.
Right.
He did sign mine as well. But,
wow.
Who does that? Who does that?
I don't know, especially somebody so closely associated with the speaker. I mean, you'd think they would be at least a little bit into concealing it, but
I do. It's being a Democrat my whole life. I across the board don't sign anybody's anybody who's Republican.
Right.
I just say I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm a Democrat.
Yep.
And he can't do that.
No. I don't think he's a Democrat. I don't think he's a Democrat. That's why.
And I said to Leo, I said, well, Jill Cataldi, who's my secretary up there, lives in the Speaker's District, and she's also Leo's secretary. So I have to be very careful what goes on my state rep email. She sees them all.
Wow.
She's a good friend of mine, but she's also, her job is her job.
Well, that's why I contacted you through Facebook instead of through, through email or anything. So I wanted to be careful of that. So, okay. So again, this is all very excellent, and I'm glad you're.
It's good. It's a great story.
Yeah.
I don't know how to. I don't know when or where or. I don't need the church any more furious with me than they already are. I mean, they're pulling the pro-life, pro-choice thing on me down here. You must know that Tyler Rowley. Do you remember him?
I know Tyler Rowley quite well.
His mother is running against me.
Oh, my goodness.
It's his mother who's the Republican.
Oh, they're like the most awful family of people.
Terrible. They're horrible.
Do you know that, like, his brother, was it Travis Rowley?
Was it?
Travis Rowley, or... There were two of them, right? There's an older brother.
There's four of them. One's a football player.
Oh my God.
One's a priest. One's a servant for Christ for life.
Right.
That's Tyler, and then I think there's another conservative writer of something.
Yeah, that's the one. He wrote 2 whole articles about me about 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, he was working for Go Local at the time. He wrote 2 entire pieces just to smear me in the press. It was ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh God! So see this is another thing we have to worry about.
I mean, honestly, I'm almost bulletproof at this point where, like, it doesn't bother me, but I do understand where you're coming from, and I want to make sure that we can protect you. So let's get through this primary. In the meantime, I will very quietly have people going to the church looking for Mattiello up there. And
if we could get that.
Yes, as soon as I have that, I will let you know.
Yeah, and I mean, Kathy Gregg wants to do something as well.
Okay. But
I have failed to do it until I get some. I don't want to do it till I have proof, and I don't want to do it when it's not going to be effective.
Right. Well, it's good to know that Kathy Gregg is on it too, because I sometimes feel too much pressure to get a story when I don't, and I want other people to be working on it as well. So that's great.
But I haven't told her about I haven't talked to her in a while, and so I didn't have the information that I had heard he got his lector spot back.
Yeah. Okay.
So I haven't shared that with her because I want the story. If I'm going to do it, it's going to come out at the right time.
Yes, I agree.
And they can say, well, why'd she wait so long? Because I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know for sure. And when I finally found out that this is what he did.
Well, that's interesting because there's a possibility that I could find out that he's a lector, and instead of and then what I could do with that is actually write a story about how he got his lectureship back or something. And apropos of nothing.
That's what it is. He killed my bill at the 11th hour.
Right.
And I don't know if you know how I told him off that night.
No.
I screamed. I called him. I said, your word is worthless. It means nothing. And 2 nights before, he talked to me about how loyal I've been and how, I can be reasonable and all of that stuff.
Right.
And then he goes and does this to me.
Yeah. I'm unsurprised by that. I think his loyalty is to nobody but himself and his closest allies. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And a champion of women.
That was disgusting. Yes, that disgusted me so much and made me so angry. And then I don't know if you saw that Deborah DeBear is very upset because he used a picture of her on that flyer without her permission.
Well, she should say something about it.
She said something. As far as I know, she's only said it. I put up that copy of that flyer on my Facebook, and she put to use my somebody's picture without permission is blah blah blah. And I was like, so all I have is that she was quite upset about it, but I don't have anything else. I mean, she is moving.
Why does she live in his district?
I don't know, but she put her picture up because of her position as the domestic violence, right? So she's upset because there's a picture of her and him together. I guess some piece of legislation went through and they posed for a picture together. So he used a picture of himself and her together as if she supports them.
Oh my God.
Right? On that flyer.
Yeah. And now Peg Langhammer, who was her former partner. I think they split up. I'm not sure.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure they did. She lives in my district, and she was, she called me right after, and she's like, "This is terrible. What happened?" Because they was, day one was very supportive of the bill.
Right.
And she said something like 70% of their clientele are under the age of 18. So this would have been good for kids.
Right. Of course it would have been.
It's the right thing to do.
No, it's honestly the only thing to do, and the fact that we're not doing it and the fact that it got shut down just shows the power of the Catholic Church still in this state, and it needs to be broken. That power no institution should be that powerful.
I mean, this thing, it even gets worse. The church in my district, St. Veronica's in Narragansett, they have actively put out in their bulletin literature about myself, Tansy, and Kathy Fogarty being pro-choice and saying that, we are extreme abortionists, right. And that we things like we approve of abortion at 9 months. I mean, that's preposterous.
Exactly, it's preposterous, right. But they're lying.
Partial birth abortion and all this, right?
Right.
And this church, it comes out of this church in my district, and it's a polling place.
Huh. Well,
and the two people that are running against me are avid churchgoers at that church. Right. And the Republican garnished the signatures for the 87-year-old man who's running against me. 87 in this primary. I mean, how's he even going to drive to the State House?
I don't know. Can I just say, too, though, that this whole idea that we have polling stations in churches is something that needs to be looked at, just as an aside.
Well, when I get reelected,
yeah.
I'm very confident, but also I have to work hard.
Right.
I'm going to put in a bill that, if a church is politically active, they cannot be a polling place.
Yeah,
something to that effect.
Yeah, we need to get them out.
The case law allows for it from the Supreme Court, but it does have exceptions for certain statements that are on the wall and all of this other stuff in the church. And, I mean, you drive into this parking lot, this church has a huge crucifix of Christ hanging on.
Yeah.
The real Christ suffering on the cross. I mean, I think that says a ton.
I think so too. Exactly. I think that says a lot to a lot of people, and it's in
the parking lot.
Right. Honestly, as a former Catholic, it's kind of intimidating, right? I mean, you go into that, you see this, and no matter how you feel, no matter what your beliefs, there's that whole deep primal feeling you get from seeing images like that.
Like I'm going to go to hell.
Right. Exactly. You think that all the time.
I figure I've already accepted that, if that's the case.
I think you'll be fine. You're a good person, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Oh, thank you. I try to be.
Exactly. That's what we do.
Not in their eyes.
No, but that's okay.
Well, thanks for reaching out. I mean, if you can do that, I've been unable to do it. I can't find anybody to go sit in church up there. Yeah,
I'm going to have some people go into the church and see what they can do. So I'm going to try to work that this weekend and next weekend and the weekend after till I find it. So
I wonder if it's in the bulletin or anything.
I tried to find a bulletin online. They don't have it online, so I'd have to go and get a copy of the bulletin, which would be just as bad as anything else. So I'm working on people to go there and record it, like, with their cell phone. Just get me a few minutes of Mattiello speaking from the lectern, and maybe a copy of the bulletin that has his name in it, maybe a picture if they think they can snap one, and then I'd have all I needed and be able to do it. So.
And the other thing is, there's some kind of Catholic online newspaper that they put out about the legislative season, and if you look at that, when it gets to my bill, they say that my bill was discriminatory because it was only as to private and nonprofit organizations, so it didn't include public. Well, they're dead wrong. They know that because I amended the bill probably 2 weeks before the end and included that language, which brought in public institutions. So the church was well aware that the language was changed because when the lawyer for Sacacci, it was that guy Jason, was talking to me. Every time he talked to me, he goes, "Well, we got to talk to the church about this." I mean, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Yes, ridiculous.
And messages every day when a bill that I wasn't sure if I was voting on would be, we're meeting with the church tomorrow morning about your bill.
Right. Can you imagine if you were trying to pass a law about gambling and they said, "Oh, we'll have to talk to the mob about this before we let you know"? You know,
exactly.
Right? That's what they're saying. Oh, we have to talk to the mobsters because we don't know about this gambling. We don't know if we can eliminate this part. It's like, no, you don't talk to the criminals, to people doing the crimes about how we're going to do this crime. Yeah. It's insane.
And the speaker said to me that, you know, this isn't happening anymore. They've cleaned up their house. I said, so why are they so upset about this?
Right.
I said, this tells me they haven't, and they know about people in the pipeline.
Right.
And you're protecting them.
Right. You're protecting child rapists. That's,
yeah.
Right. All
they have to do is call the police, and their liability is no longer valid because they got rid of the guy. I don't know, but it definitely didn't. Your text said did it exclude clergy? It did not.
That's good to know. That's fine. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It never did that.
Well, that's great. So, all right, I will work on this. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for your call.
All right, Steve. Take care.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye.